This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Mary's book are not new. What she brings to the reader are clearer explanations, real-life examples, and a user-friendly guide through the complexities of this language intervention program for children with autism. While reading the book, parents and professionals will be able to immediately apply the approach with the confidence of the support from the well-established field of behavior analysis. Mary's unique perspective as a parent of a child with autism allows readers a first-hand view of the many obstacles faced by parents raising a child with autism and working their way through the maze of miracle cures and intervention strategies. Mary is a registered nurse, and her husband is an MD. They initially learned about behavior analysis to help their son, Lucas, but found it to be so valuable that Mary became dedicated to helping other families learn these methods. She became a board-certified behavior analyst, BCBA, published empirical research on the verbal behavior approach, and now has written this book that clearly lays out the basics of the verbal behavior intervention program. Mary's step-by-step descriptions of the teaching procedures and detailed examples will be a significant contribution to the existing material on applied behavior analysis and the treatment of children with language delays and disorders. Her book is an easy read that presents a complicated set of material in a compelling fashion. Without question, this book will have a dramatic impact on a substantial number of children with autism. Mark L. Sundberg, Ph.D., BCBA, Sundberg & Associates, Concord, California. Introduction. I was a registered nurse with more than a decade of experience, but when my physician husband first mentioned the possibility that my then 21-month-old son, Lucas, might have autism, I was as bewildered and angry as any parent. To be honest, I had very little experience with autism, and it simply never crossed my mind that my firstborn was anything less than perfect. So what made my husband think that my son had autism? He pointed out that Lucas wanted to watch television too much and didn't play with toys, and that at times Lucas simply appeared to be in his own world. At that time, I wasn't willing to look at the possibility. I argued that Lucas had language, a good 10 words, which wasn't that unusual for a child under 2, and that he was a warm and cuddly baby. He didn't look like he had autism, since he didn't fit the picture I had in my mind of what autism was supposed to look like. He wasn't banging his head. He wasn't rocking. He wasn't doing anything that I considered to be autistic. I told my husband on that day that he was crazy for bringing up autism. I told him that Lucas didn't have it, and that I never wanted to hear the word autism again. Little did I know that a little over a year later, autism and its various treatments would begin to take over my life. Soon after my husband used the A word, I reluctantly had to admit to myself that I didn't really know what autism looked like in a baby. I had to tell myself that, as a physician, my husband might have a better ability than I to gauge Lucas's behaviors against other kids his age. So my husband's comment did plant a seed as I began to carefully watch Lucas interact, or fail to interact, with the world around him. I thought about autism every time Lucas did something odd. If he took toys and methodically moved them from one basket to another, I wondered, maybe. If he played with a piece of string hanging from a chair for more than a few seconds, I worried, maybe. The word autism, autism, autism would spin around my brain, only to be explained away by my desire to have a typical child, not a child with autism. But Lucas did have autism, and the fact that I stuck my head in the sand and was in denial about it didn't help Lucas get better. In fact, it made him worse. Lucas got further and further behind his peers in language until it was undeniable that he wasn't keeping up. By the time he was 2.5, the other children from his preschool were running out to their parents and asking if they could go over to a friend's house, speaking in full, animated sentences. Lucas's peers were speaking in sentences and developing relationships with other children, while my goal at the time was to teach Lucas to say the word ball. At that moment, I started to realize that I had no choice but to get out of denial and into the reality of my son's life. From that point forward, I was in my son's corner as his coach and advocate, as well as his mother.